the BioPro chips and stuff, don't they? Do they work?
Some of those things can work. I don't have it on my phone. I had it on my old phone. Some of those things can work. Some of them don't work. But I'll tell you, when your body is actually responding physically, when you start getting a headache, there's a problem there. So let me tell you a little bit about cell phones. From 1983 to 2003, it took us 20 years to introduce, no, excuse me, sorry, excuse me, that was wrong. From, I believe it's 1985, maybe it's 1983, maybe it's 1985, whatever, it was 20 years it took us to introduce the first 1 billion cell phones on the planet. Over the next year and a half, the 2nd billion were introduced. Over the next 9 months, the 3rd billion were introduced. Over the next 6 months, the next billion was introduced. The amount of ambient cell phone radiation on our planet is increasing at an exponential rate. You take an average urban environment, there's a 500,000% increase in radiation from cell phones in an average urban environment. Now, how many people have heard of a guy by the name of Albert Einstein? Okay? And I have, on our energetic lecture, I mean, I have, what, Josh, 230 slides on all the quantum physics guys that I use. I actually use 14 Nobel laureates to establish my premise so that by the time I get to this point about scientifically showing how significant energetic healing is, nobody can argue with me because I used the work of 14 Nobel laureates to build my foundation on. So obviously we're not going to do that because, one, I don't have the slides up here, they're down in my office, and 2, it takes too long to do that. But one of those Nobel laureates that I use is Albert Einstein. Does anybody know what Albert Einstein said about the future of the human race, like how we would know when the human race was going to end? Anybody? Nobody? Any of you guys? Yeah. You guys have heard it too many times, right? Albert Einstein said that if you want to know what the fate of the human race is, look at the bumblebees. And when the bees start to disappear, the human race has 4 years left. Bees are disappearing. They've even got a Walt Disney movie, isn't it? Walt Disney movie or DreamWorks movie about the bees disappearing, the bee movie. Bees are disappearing on 4 out of 5 continents right now. And it's been attributed to global warming, pesticides, pestilence, this, that, the other. Has nothing to do with that. Do you know what it's to do with? Bees have a substance called magnetite, which happens to be a very relatively rare substance. We just, I'll tell you guys what you're sitting on right now in a second, but magnetite, humans have it in their brain, reptiles have it in their stomach, birds have it in their beaks, bees have it in their bellies, in their gastrointestinal tract. And the magnetite allows them to orient themselves to the Earth's magnetic grids so they can find direction. But because of all the ambient radiation, it throws off the magnetic grids and their orientation, so they can't line up with the Earth's magnetic grids, and they can't find their way back to the beehive. Homing pigeons used to be 85% of the birds that were set off on these races. You know, they're going 600, 700, 800 miles in these races. 85% would make it back home. 15% attrition. Birds of prey, you know, getting caught up in a car, I mean, in a plane engine, or getting hit by something, whatever it was. 15% wouldn't make it back. 85% made it back. Now, 85% of the birds don't make it back. Only 15% make it to their destination.